was a great victory. Really proud of everybody. Our players, first and foremost, great team effort. Our coaches did a wonderful job. All of our support staff. Our fan base showed up in big numbers and supported us. Of course, our families showed up. Red Coat Marching Band, cheerleaders, everybody. Just appreciate everybody. Our administration. Great victory. Want to give credit to Coach Johnson and his team. Those guys battled. Both teams battled well, and we came out on top. And it's kind of a typical game that we play. I guess that's now 9 out of 12 touchdown or less. So 9 of the last 12 games have been that close, and it's just kind of how it goes. But we just got to keep persevering to the end, which we did, and got the victory. So I'm very thankful. We got a question.
Coach, can you talk about that play on from your own end zone there at the end of the game? Decided to throw it on first down.
Right. Well, it's basically the same play that we were hitting the fullback out in the flat, and that's the one you hope pops out of there. Whenever he's really geared up to stop the run, you hope that fullback can pop out of there. It's off of our power play. Fullback takes an angle like he's going to block the power, and then slips out in the flat. And I think we hit him a couple times there. Bless you. And then we had one time we hit Malcolm on a little crossing route, same play, but it went to the third progression, which was Malcolm. This particular ball downfield to our tight end was our second progression on. Apparently they jumped the fullback in the flat, and then we were open. It got open at the second level, and I mean huge play, no doubt. But it's relatively safe play. You don't want to get too crazy and give them something to get excited about. But on the other hand, you can't get too conservative either. So it was just a great call and great execution.
Mark, it looked like the defense had a chance for a shutout, and Jake was kind of blaming himself. He just said he single incomplete pass on that on sports.
Yeah, well, there's two things on that. That does signify incomplete pass, and it does also signify our punt safe. That's what it was 4th and 7, and that's what everybody's doing is punt safe. On the sideline, just to make sure our punt team doesn't go on the field and our safe group goes, if in fact they punt. Now they may not have punted in that situation, but you got to get ready to communicate it so we don't have 12 on the field or some kind of mishap. We were about out of timeouts by then. We had found ways to burn those, unfortunately. Some for good reason, some not for good reason. But yeah, I guess no comment is the best comment right now. What does your mother say?
Don't say anything.
What do they say?
I can't remember.
What does your mother say?
You don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
You can quote my mother. Not me.
Are you a little bit aggravated that this game, it seemed like you guys dominated in a lot of ways, that it ended up being so?
I'm not aggravated at all. I'm excited. I'm happy. I can promise you. I'm happy.
Will there be a time?
Any victory is a great victory, and especially your in-state rival.
Will there be a time when you go back and look at the film where you kind of probably get a little frustrated?
I don't know. And usually we start cranking up on the road so fast that I don't even know when I'll get a chance to sit down and watch the darn thing. I could look at it tonight, but I'll probably be a college football fan and watch a bunch of other coaches sweat it out and let them, play some great games. There'll be some great games the rest of the day. But I don't know. I can't get frustrated with what happened. I can only be happy that we won and proud of our guys for the way they fought, not just today but for the last month, and it's been pretty neat.
What do you make of this regular season 9-3 finish? Obviously difficult October.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we came up short of our goal to get to Atlanta and win it and try to go beyond. I mean, we all know that. That's the standard here, win the SEC. Hopefully go beyond that. I mean, you can't hardly control sometimes with voting and all that kind of thing, but you could certainly win the league and not get in, but we absolutely have control on whether or not we make it to Atlanta. We have control whether or not we can win the game when you get there. After that, it's you kind of figure you could get in that championship game, but so from that point of view, we fell short, of our goals. But when you also look at a team being in the position we were in and just watching everybody come together, I mean, we certainly could have gone one way or another. It was that moment of truth where, what are we going to do? Are we going to lay down and die, or are we going to lock arms and get after it? And they did. They really did. Coaches, players, everybody did. And so, you know, one of our goals was to know, we knew there was a lot of adversity, and, you know, our goal was to hopefully teach our players and even ourselves as coaches, how do you act under these circumstances? We certainly, we all knew how we felt, so now we got to figure out how we're going to act. And I think everybody did a good job of acting the right way, taking care of your responsibility, cheering on everybody else. You know, looking in the mirror when it comes to what could I have done better as a player, as a coach, as a head coach, obviously. You know, so all those things I thought were good. I thought there were some really good life lessons for our young men, and things that'll carry them for a long time. And I hope that anybody watching could at least say, you know what, these guys, they fought together, and they turned around a situation that wasn't as good as everybody hoped. Not that we turned it around to glory, we didn't do that, but we turned it around to get those 3 or 4 victories, whatever it was, and hopefully we can get one more. Our seniors have won 39 games. They'd love to get 40. Doesn't happen that often, and so I think that's a good motivating factor for them and the rest of the team to get it for them. And I think the young guys see that and say, hey, you know, it's on my watch too. If we get 10, you know, maybe we get up to mid-40s or beyond, and so that's what I'm hoping will continue to motivate our players.
Mark, have you been given any indication about your coaching future at Georgia?
No, not at all. No conversation whatsoever.
When will you meet with Mr. McGarity, and do you think?
I don't know. There's nothing scheduled right now.
Don't you usually have an evaluation right at the end of the year?
We do. It happens at different times. Sometimes it's just on paper and write up a report and ship it to you. And you know, so I've heard nothing in that regard.
Do you have any angst about that? I mean,
no. I think the Lord's in charge of everything, and I'm fine with whatever He's got in store for me. But you know, I think that you know, the plan for me is to get on the recruiting trail and keep nailing down a great class and getting prepared for this bowl game and getting prepared for the future of Georgia.
Would you prefer to have some clarity before you go back out on the road?
Oh, we don't. I don't need any clarity right now. I'm ready to recruit.
Mark, most of the celebration probably happened after you came off the field,
Yes.
but guys planting the flag at midfield, tearing up a
Oh,
little
they
bit.
did that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, just you react.
I didn't see that. I've seen. There was one time we were stomping on somebody's deal at the end of the game, and I'd shoot them off of there. And if I'd have been out there, I wouldn't have let that happen. I think it's good to celebrate, but yeah, I think there's a line that you draw, and I think doing that is not good. And I think damaging other people's property is not good. You know, and it goes both ways.
Yeah, a lot of the kids were talking about today how that's what happened last year, and that was sort of their motivation for the game.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that'll motivate them next year. I mean, not that anybody needs more motivation, but that's about what happens in this thing. But I'm not for tearing up people's property.
Talk about aggravation. Is it crazy that people like you and Les Miles are looking at 9-win seasons or even being asked about their job security? Is that crazy?
I think it's just part of the territory. I mean, it's big-time college football. It's SEC college football. Everybody has high expectations, and that's exciting. You want a fan base with high expectations. And so, I mean, I just think that's part of it.
But having to answer questions like that, what was it like when you were coming off the field, having the whole fan base in the corner there cheering you on?
Oh, I mean, it's exciting to win. It's exciting to spend yourself, you know, in what we consider a worthy cause and come out with the victory, you know. And of course, there's the old Theodore Roosevelt quote about it's not the critic who counts, it's not the man who points out where the strong man stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done them better, but the credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, you know, who's been to battle. Win or lose, at least he wasn't one of those timid souls that know neither victory nor defeat. And, you know, so we know we're in the arena, and we're going to take shots. It's part of it, you know. And I'm not saying we shouldn't take shots. I'm not saying people shouldn't say what they think. If people think a certain way, then they've got a right to say what they think. If fans don't like what they're saying, they have a right to do that. I mean, we love the fans and their passion, and we want them to get excited about Georgia football. And when we don't win, they hurt. When we hurt, they hurt. You know, and so it's just part of the business. It's part of the deal. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I only want fans to cheer and never complain. That's you can't do that. I mean, it's just not right. And I think everybody in the media has a right to say what they think. I mean, I don't get mad at anybody, if y'all wondering. So anyway.
What was the situation at the end of the game with the clock? What was the situation with the end of the game and the clock with the resetting?
Yeah, part of it was the 40-second clock not being in sync and trying to get the game clock set up with the 40-second clock.
Y'all were pretty agitated, it seemed.
Yeah, well, there were some times where the clock wasn't running properly, but the game clock, all right, wasn't running properly, but the 40-second clock was winding down. So when that ticks, this should tick.
Did you get
well, that was
seconds?
ticking and that wasn't ticking. But what they did is they went back and they put the right time on the clock, started the 40-second, restarted the 40-second, restarted, and reset the game. They average, excuse me, we all average about 5 seconds per play. Everybody kind of uses that as a guide. So I think what they did is they went on one particular case, they took 5 seconds off for the play, put the 40-second clock on, and then started them both at the same time. And there's a couple times that we did not use every little bit of that clock. We could have done better a couple times, but most of the time we did well. And we were wanting that clock to run down, and there were some times when, should we have been a little more aggressive offensively? I don't know. Our defense was playing so good, I felt like we should just keep staying the course like we were.
Grayson said he appreciated the confidence from the coaches in making that call on their own 7-yard line. It's a pass, play action, pass play. Right. To be clear, who made it? Was that Schottenheimer, you that made that call?
Yeah, Schottenheimer made it.
And then just the confidence in Grayson.
He'll ask me how I feel about it. I'm like, throw the best high percentage pass we got. And that particular play is one of my favorites, quite frankly. In that situation, we hit the fullback twice in the flat. We hit Malcolm on a crossing route one time, and we hit the tight end. Fullback's number 1, tight end's number 2. Malcolm coming across as a check down's number 3, and I think we were 4 for 4 on that. And but Coach Schottenheimer, again, he made that call.
And then on Lambert, dude gets no respect, but he finished 9-2 as a starter this season, and I guess it's not
very few
flashy.
picks. I think he's 10 TDs and 2 picks.
Yeah.
And he's done some very good things. And when you think about him and you think about Jake Gaines, here's 2 guys that were not with our program a year ago, and they both jump into an offensive defensive leadership position. It's pretty special what those guys were able to do. And just glad they chose Georgia, and I'm proud of what they did.
There's a punt to win situation there at the end. I mean, that punt to win situation there at the end where it kind of backfired on Michigan State, Michigan earlier this year. I don't know if was that was that something you guys practice a lot or work on a lot?
Yeah, we knew even last week Georgia Southern was a pressure team. A lot of teams we were playing were more return teams, and most every time Bryce has been the punter, not many people have pressured the kick. But Georgia Southern pressured it. We knew Georgia Tech would have that as a part of what they do. And one of the things we did, we had never practiced with Bryce punting from the 1-yard line out. And in the last game, we got up to about the 3 or 4, and he had decent space. But because he was he came in mid-year as a punter, we really hadn't worked that with him. So we worked that, kicking from the -1, which was big. But that technique is basically the same as if they're pressuring the kick. You just want to catch it and get it out. And I think that helped him have confidence. And you know, snap's got to be on the money too, and you got to give Nate Theus a lot of credit because that ball was a BB and it was right where it needed to be, where you can catch it and get it out.
Last question.
Coach, you had to go back-to-back timeouts there in the second half on offense.
Yeah.
What happened on that?
I'm trying to think both circumstances. One, I know we had an issue with the personnel group, guy getting in there late. That was one. And then I think another one was just, you know, not getting to, you know, a combination of maybe not calling the play fast enough, maybe, you know, the quarterback not having awareness to, you know, just speed things up a little bit. And sometimes we have plays we call combos where he's got to come to the line of scrimmage and assess, do I run here, do I run it there? I get into my cadence, I see what they're in, then I go into my cadence, you know. And so one time I think we had a double cadence where you call the whole cadence, assess what's going on, call the whole cadence again, and we just ran out of time. So not good, but thankfully it didn't cost us.
Thank you.
All right.